Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we're going to be talking about money. So yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about money, and I'm going to give you a sort of like beginner's guide to saving money. I'm going to start off the video by talking about why I think this is important, and money and mental health. Then I'm going to give 3 basic rules to think about when saving money. Thirdly, I'm going to give a proper little breakdown of steps that you can follow if you're trying to sort of budget and start saving money and just sort of like thinking about, budgeting, etc. So just to start off, money and mental health. I think this topic of talking about money and saving money and becoming sort of financially aware and responsible is so important. Money is literally the cause of the biggest stressor in so many people's lives. It's one of the highest reasons for marriage breakdowns, divorce. I was reading some stats earlier that said that 1 in 5 people with mental health disorders are also in debt, and 50% of people who are in debt are suffering from mental health difficulties. So yeah, I just think it's really important, and the earlier we start, the better. So the earlier you are aware and thinking about all of these things, about saving, about setting yourself up for the future, the better it's going to be. But in saying that, it's never too late to start. So whether you're 15, 20, 35, 55, it's never too late to start being aware, becoming aware, and being responsible with your savings and your finances. Now let's talk about 3 basic rules for money. And the first rule is the earlier you start, the better. So if you start putting money aside and saving, or putting money into your pension at 20, your pension will amount to way more money than if you only start contributing to your pension at 35. So the earlier you start, the better. The second kind of rule is that every little counts. Even if you can only save £5 a week, £5 a month, literally whatever, every little counts. And it's so important that you just save any little amount that you can. Rule number 3 is what people call the 50-30-20 rule. And now I don't actually quite follow this myself at the moment, but I'm going to break down for you in a minute exactly what I do. But essentially what the 50-30-20 rule is it's kind of like a guide of how you should be spending your money. So 50% of your monthly salary or weekly salary or whatever it is should be spent on your sort of basic living expenses. So that means your rent, your bills, your food, your phone subscription, things that you need to survive and to continue living on a monthly basis. That should be assigned to around 50% of your salary. 30% is the money that you spend. So 30% can be saved for your general spending throughout the month, and the last 20% should be put into savings. And that's kind of like a general rule of thumb, which can be really useful when you're starting to think about budgeting and saving, etc. The next thing, let's break it down. Let's get into it. What do I do? What steps do I do to budget and save money? So personally, I have 3 different types of savings accounts. I have an emergency fund, which I do not touch apart from in absolute emergencies. So this is what most people would recommend you build up first, and what most people will say is the most important saving account to have. So an emergency fund is meant to be 3 months of your basic living expenses. So 3 months worth of your absolute basic living expenses that you would need to survive for 3 months if, for example, you lost your job and had no money coming in. So that would be your rent, your food. So for me, this includes my rent, my bills, my food, and my phone bill. And I've actually also included some other things like Netflix, etc. But that doesn't technically need to be involved. But I just thought, let's just involve my monthly outgoing subscriptions anyway. So that's the kind of first saving account that you need to think of. 3 months of basic living expenses in an emergency fund. The best way to save this money is if you open an easy access ISA, and preferably with as high interest rate as possible, but at the moment interest rates are pretty dire. But an easy access ISA which you put this money into and just do not touch apart from in absolute emergencies. And it's kind of meant to be there to prevent you from ever having to go into debt, so you've always got a backup and you're never going to have to borrow money in an emergency situation, or hopefully you won't have to borrow money in an emergency situation. If you want more info about like ISAs and what they are, etc., then just let me know in the comments below and I will share my wisdom, kind of minimal knowledge that I have, but it's enough to make it work, knowledge that I have on that situation. So the second kind of account that I have is a general savings account, and so this is to kind of use for like holidays or bigger presents. You know, if I want to buy my boyfriend or something like a really nice present for his birthday, then I can maybe dip into that instead of taking up most of my monthly spending allowance. So yeah, a general savings account for like that you can go into, but you kind of try not to unless, you know, it's like something a bit special. My third type of savings account is what is called a goals saving account. So this is special to you and it's whatever goal you have that you want to work towards. So for me at the moment, I want to be saving towards a mortgage for a house. So my goal savings account is my house savings account. For you, it might be you want to go on a big traveling trip, you want to buy a car, whatever it is, you put money into your goal savings account and that money is not touched for any reason other than for this specific goal. So those are my 3 kind of saving accounts that I put into every month. And then on the side of that, I also have my sort of monthly spend. That doesn't include my basic living expenses, so it's literally just money to spend on like going out for fun things, visiting friends, drinks, etc., which obviously isn't happening at the moment anyway, but that's okay, So let's have a little chat about how you decide how much to put into each of these accounts. The first thing that you really want to be doing is to work out what your basic living expenses are. So get a pen and paper and write out how much money you need for rent, how much money you need for your bills, how much money you need a month for food, and how much money your phone subscription is. And that for me is what my basic living expenses are. So once you've calculated that, go to a different section and you want to calculate your monthly sort of subscriptions and direct debits. So this might include Audible, Netflix, Spotify, gym membership, maybe charity donations, anything that is a monthly cost from your bank account that gets taken out every month. Write that down in a section called monthly subscriptions. Then what you can do is you sum up those 2 figures, take your monthly pay after tax, minus those 2 figures from your monthly pay, and then what you're left with is everything that you can use for either saving or spending each month. So that gives you a really clear idea straight off of how much money you've got left over to play with and work with. What I then do after this is I've got this figure of how much I can spend/save, and I decided personally that I would have around £300 for my monthly spending, and everything else is going to go into savings. And you can decide how you want to split that up. So my priority, as I'm going to be moving out soon and I'm going to be living on my own, paying rent, etc., my priority at the moment is to build up my emergency fund. So for now, whatever's left after my monthly spend has been taken out, I'm putting half into my emergency fund and half into my house savings. Then I calculated in about 4 months' time, my emergency fund will be complete. So I will have a full 3 months' expenses in my emergency fund. After that, I'm going to go back, recost my savings and send a certain amount into my like general savings and the rest of it into my house savings. So yeah, in that way, it's really up to you of how you deem fit and how you want to be sort of separating up your money. So yeah, that's all I really have to say on the matter, to be honest. I hope that made sense, and I hope that it gives you a bit of clarity of steps that you can work through to help you budget and plan and save. I am planning on doing more sort of like financial savings videos, for example, maybe explain credit scores and credit cards, or explain investing and pensions, etc. So if that's something that you're interested in, please comment below on a question that you have or something that you want to know, and I will do my best to cover it. I am by no means an expert, but I've done quite a lot of my own research within this to try and understand and to set myself up as best as possible. So yeah, hopefully you found this useful. Please let me know what you think. Please let me know any questions that you have, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye!